always giving back to the community. Well, I got an email from someone who said they used to be very high up in this company, and the only reason this company exists is to fund the world's biggest human trafficking ring ever. So I asked them if they'd be down to get on a call. Look at this heartwarming company. They sell air purifiers and water purifiers, and they're always giving back to the community. Well, I got an email from someone who said they used to be very high up in this company, and the only reason this company exists is to fund the world's biggest human trafficking ring ever. So I asked them if they'd be down to get on a call with me.
He's at Interpol's most wanted list. You know, and I've called the FBI and I said, I found him. I can tell you a story that will make your head fucking fly off your shoulders.
This guy wants to remain anonymous, but this woman, Myra, is an ex-employee of this company who used to work right underneath the CEO.
I'm Peter Spiegel. I'm the founder and chief executive officer of Ideal Living in Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, the company is called Ideal Living and is located about 30 minutes away from Los Angeles.
I've worked at that company over a 15-year period. I was the senior brand manager for the two largest non-infomercial brands in the company.
Because she was so high up, she knows all of the company's secrets. She's probably the only person in the world who has the power to completely destroy this company. So you might be thinking, how does an air purifier company from Los Angeles get away with funding the world's biggest human trafficking ring? Well, they have a pretty sneaky way of pulling this off. The leader of all of the abuse pretends to be a god. He has his own organization called Jagaguru Kripalu Parashat, or JKP for short. On their website, you can see that this man claims to be the 5th Jagaguru of the world, which basically means that he is literally God himself, but in the form of a human. And yeah, you watching this might not believe that this man's a god, but there's about 100 million people from all around the world that actually do believe this. So I found someone who said they lived in this organization for over 14 years and sent them a message.
I was just drawn in, like it just seemed like, oh, okay, this could be a spiritual home for me. This could be where I learn, where I advance, where I achieve my spiritual goals.
The first thing she explained to me was why everyone believes that he's a god.
We had rogue people in the history of the organization who would say, yeah, you're this or you're that, or you get this award for a fee, for a personal fee to that person or those couple of people.
So he basically just said, I'm the 5th Jagaguru, and then everyone believed him?
Yeah, he just said he was, that's all. I just think it's a lie.
Because people see him as a literal god, he has infinite power, and with that power, he decided to come up with a special way for all of the kids as young as 9 years old to have a better afterlife.
His close followers, his female followers in particular, had to bring him rather regular offerings of underage girls. But they are told by the woman who takes them there, you're going to be with Krishna forever, and consider this, your wedding night with Krishna, with God. The girls don't have a choice. They are literally raped. They are taken into him, locked in the room with him, and they are raped. That doesn't make it any easier for the girls. They still are traumatized.
So how many victims do you think there are then of this JKP group?
Thousands.
Really?
Thousands. I couldn't even calculate.
It was not about Hindu theory. It was a New York Jewish diamond salesman who found a scam, and two poor fucking swamis who found a financier, and they were.
However, the story gets crazier.
The Hindu guru convicted.
They got his conviction. He was convicted of 20 counts of child molestation, sentenced to 280 years in jail. But on the day of his sentencing, he never showed up.
They called his name 3 times in the courtroom, and none of those calls were answered.
Religious leader may be on the run.
Convicted Hindu guru has disappeared. Nobody knows where he is.
Is the 82-year-old man unable to make it, or is he on the run?
The night before his sentencing, he was having dinner with my bosses. They helped him escape to Mexico.
U.S. Marshals say it's the most complex fucking escape that they've ever seen. To this second, he's on the Interpol's most wanted list. I called the FBI and I said, I found him.
So they met up with the FBI and gave them all of their evidence. But for some reason, the FBI did nothing. They didn't really know what else to do with all the evidence they had. So they decided to share it with the news.
I call him, I go, hey Eric, guess what? I know everything.
We hopped on a call and she was able to get the story cleared by the editor-in-chief. And the editor-in-chief said, drop all other stories you're working on and focus solely on this. After she had gotten clearance from the story, she said, I'm going to grab the readers by the throat from the very first line and keep them reading all the way till the end.
He said there were going to be 7 videos that we've interviewed all of these people. Then he told me it was going to be on the cover, Ben. He told me it was going to be on the cover of Newsweek and on the online.
Cleared legal, it was ready to be published. We were just waiting for the publication. I got a Google alert, and so I clicked the link and I'm watching this video of myself.
But it turns out that this wasn't the story. It was just a small clip of the interview that accidentally leaked online.
I called the next day and he goes, oh, it was a leak. We don't know what happened. We don't know why it's on there. I go, how do you not know? What do you mean?
The news organization that accidentally leaked this clip sent them an email later that day saying that they can verify that Peter saw the video. And now that the CEO of Ideal Living knows that there's a story about to come out that could destroy his billion-dollar company, he's going to do whatever he can to stop this story from airing. So literally right before all the stories were supposed to come out, this happened.
He ghosted me. This is a guy who was obsessed with finding Saraswati.
And then I asked him, like, did they threaten you or your family? Like, I texted him that this week. Like, why else are you not responding?
Out of nowhere, all of the news reporters from all of the different news stations that were working on this story either all left the company or all got fired.
Myra reached out to me and said, I got an email, Valerie was just laid off. And the next day, he's no longer going to be a part of the LA Times. Nick Mortonwack left Newsweek. Left. Gone. And Nick Mortonwack has never gotten back to us. Same as Eric Dexheimer, same as Meg James, same as Amy Kaufman. They've all ghosted us.
I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, this is the biggest media cover-up. No major organization wants to cover this because it will blow up everything.
But this is when they saw on Instagram that one of the top editors that dropped this story was doing a press conference. And it was only about an hour away from their house.
I said, Myra, let's get in the fucking car. We get in the car, we drive down to Disneyland. I go into the investigative reporting thing. There are 350 people in there. I'm walking around, no badge, no anything. They look around and goes, I'm looking for a new project. If anyone has one, I go, and I raise my hand like that. I have a story to tell. I found a child sex cult, and I know people in this room have killed it.
Someone is saying no or someone is stopping you. It's court cases between
Yeah.
So know that and fine.
I have disrupted and done everything I can to break this motherfucker.
So the only option left was to go public with the story himself. But obviously Ideal Living was going to do whatever they could to stop him.
They thought either one, they could pay me off, or number two, that if I could sue her into silence, that I could get away with it again. I refuse to be paid off.
Since Ideal Living couldn't pay this guy off, there was only one way to silence him.
Ideal Living, LLC versus...
And they sued me for extortion, for intimidation and unfair business practices. They filed 5 police reports that said that I assaulted.
Do you disagree with that summary? Anything stand out as being false?
That you represent a child sex cult. No, I agree with it. I do believe that you represent a child sex cult because you do, so I agree with that. No, the child sex cult part where you're representing a child sex cult, that's totally right there.
I'm going to terminate the deposition. I'm going to terminate the deposition. This is ridiculous.
Take him. Keep asking questions. No, I'm not going to ask questions.
There was this kind old gentleman who was a Harvard arbitrator who comes into the room with Myra and I.
I'm a little confused. Is Ideal Living a child sex cult?
And the guy comes in and he goes, first thing I want to tell you is the legal system is not fair. It's based on money. And I see billions of dollars in that room, and I don't see billions of dollars in this room. So what I'm gonna do is try to get you out of this. He said, look, he said, just get out. Just get out of it.
Myra and I both are not into settling when it comes to a child sex cult.
It was weird. And because we thought there was no chance he was going to lose it. And when he lost, we were like, what? Because legally, there's no reason why he should have lost that. It didn't make sense. I swear to fucking God that they bribed this judge. You also have to understand that they have $1 billion behind them. You know, it's really tough. We didn't have money to fight back. So they bullied us.
Basically, this lawsuit destroyed both of their lives, and now they have no clue what to do.
Now we're literally at our breaking point. My credit has been destroyed. My fucking car was repossessed last month. I have nothing. I'm working multiple jobs and I can't keep up with the debt because I took on a lot of debt to try to survive this. Yeah, we're in a bit of a spot right now. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. And
She told me that this is when one of her friends told her about my YouTube channel. They were pretty shocked at how many times billion-dollar corporations have tried suing me.
Suing me for like $1 million. Sue me for $5 million.
It's not gonna end in your favor. $5 million, they will play hardball with you.
But every single time I get sued, I just think of a really stupid way to get out of it.
I made the Church of Scientology sucks. We just believe that Scientology sucks. So now if I say that, they can't sue me for that because that's just what I believe in. If you sue me for what I believe in, you're discriminating me against my religion.
And it always ends up working out for me somehow. They said that I might be the only person in the entire world that would actually be brave enough to come out and be the first person to ever tell their story publicly.
You are the man to do it because you've got the fucking guts of a beast.
So I was like, I'm down, but before I tell the story, I wanted to verify that everything they were saying was true. Right now, they're claiming that the cult is building a huge base here in Los Angeles, but when I looked it up online, nothing about the cult came up. Also, the spot they're claiming it's at, I went to it on Google Maps, and it's just a tiny little house.
So I went like street view and everything, and like it's not there or anything.
I know, because just to tell you is, they hide it. They keep changing the name of it. You just begun the. You just jumped into the rabbit hole, yeah.
So
you just jumped in the rabbit hole.
Doing our litigation, they changed the name of it. So that's what he does. He keeps changing it.
When they sued me and I started going after them, they changed the entire name of the entire fucking place.
So we decided to go check it out in person.
Ready to the left, because this is where the shit happens.
Oh, shoot.
Look at that. So do you remember on Google Maps where it was a little tiny fucking house? That's that.
This is so weird.
So I was ready to tell this story, but just to prepare myself, I decided to call some of the past news reporters to see if they knew why they got fired right before the story was going to air.
Basically, I heard you were working on a story with Ideal Living and how it was connected to a cult, but then as you were working on the story, you stopped working with and I guess the theory is right now is people are saying like maybe they were threatening the news reporters that were working on it, and just before I put a bunch of like money and resources into this project that I might work on, I just wanted to give you guys a call and see like why you guys stopped working on the story, like if you guys were like actually getting threatened or if there's like other reasons you stopped working on it. But
I don't know because I got laid off in February and they were working on the story. I heard like 5 or 6 weeks ago about July. I've been a journalist for 3 years. I would be extremely careful, and that is completely off the record if you're being a friend tonight.
I knew that if I wanted to tell this story, I had to protect myself. So I spent the rest of the day making sure that every single claim Myra and Dick made was supported by undeniable evidence, which is what I'm printing out right now. This is all the evidence.
Whoa, this is a sick time lapse. Well, time to film the documentary now.
So I rented professional cinematic cameras and a professional sound system and tried as hard as I could to make a professional looking backdrops for their interviews. And finally, it was time to film.
Yeah! Oh, that's a wrap! 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 Oh
wasn't finished yet. To hear the full story, I was gonna have to get Peter's side.
Can I get a burrito? Thank you. Hello, I got a DoorDash for Peter Spiegel. Just to drop off at the second floor. Hello, Peter?
I am.
I'm a reporter. I'm doing a story on Ideal Living, and I wanted to see if you'd be able to answer some questions for the story I'm doing. If that's okay?
You have to go through our marketing people.
Uh-huh.
Just introduce to Helen.
Hello.
Help you. I'm Peter's assistant.
I think he'd probably want to share his side because there's like some allegations on him that I don't know if they're true or not. I'd hope they're not true, but I just want to share his side so that way it doesn't like make him look like the bad guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, basically the biggest question I guess is they're saying he's like funding the world's biggest human trafficking ring, I think. So, like if that isn't true, you know, like I think it would be very beneficial for him to say that, you know, otherwise the documentary's gonna come out saying that he's funding the world's biggest human trafficking ring. So, I think it would be like, you know, I think it's something he would probably want to talk about, you know.
And also make sure that that's multi-source, like.
Yeah, well, I'm coming straight to the source, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, please email me, send me the information, and then we can go from there.
Okay. What time, if you're his assistant, do you have to know the next time you have to be free, or maybe like the end of the day today, you think?
Yeah, shoot me an email. We can go through and then we can
Okay.
have a conversation.
Sweet, well, I'll talk to you later today then, hopefully, and yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I waited all day, and they never got back to me. So, I guess I have to try again.
Can I get a burrito? Thank you. Get a DoorDash for Peter Spiegel. It says delivered to the second floor of the building. Is it part of the delivery instructions, I guess? Well, I don't get paid unless I, like, get it to him, I guess.
But at this moment, I saw that they made a wanted poster with my face on it. Yeah, this security guard must know exactly who I am.
I'll be 100% honest, the food delivery thing was actually just a ruse. I'm a documentary maker. I'm doing a documentary on the world's biggest human trafficking ring, and we think the person funding it might be up there, and I think they might get really like upset if we don't share their side of the story, you know what I mean? So, hey, I'm making a documentary. It's a documentary on the world's biggest human trafficking ring, and I thought it was a good faith effort to let him share his side in case he's actually not funding it. Because if he's not funding it, this could save his life, you know? Uh-huh. Or I'll leave, but just want to make sure like I'm doing my journey correctly. Instead of basically being like, hey, we're not actually the ones funding the big human trafficking circle, you'd rather threaten? Well, I'm not threatened, no.
I can only think of one more place where Peter might be.
Hello.
I'm
How's it going? Really?
Yeah.
It's closed.
Yes, yes.
Well, that's weird, because about a week ago, I signed up on their website, and they personally invited me out to this place.
Oh, I just have to say something to Peter. Do you know where Peter's at?
No, he's not here.
He's not here?
No, very sorry.
Well, that's weird too, because I have a secret agent on the inside, and as you can see, Peter is definitely inside this place.
You know what's about Peter's here? But you guys invited me here. You guys invited me here. You sent me an email. You said I should show up today?
It seems like for some mysterious reason, they all of a sudden are taking their invitation away. So I'm gonna give them one final chance to finally share their side.
Some guy is saying really bad things about this place, and I don't think it's true. Basically they're saying, is this place funding the world's biggest human trafficking ring? No? Well, if that's the case, you probably would want to say that, right? And because a lot of people are going to see a documentary about... No, I'm just saying, this is my last thing and we'll leave. So the official statement is yes, you are funding the human trafficking ring? Okay, yes? Okay.
So I put the documentary we made on Patreon. The link's in the description if you want to watch it, but this makes Peter look like one of the worst people in the entire world. And this documentary is going to go live on my YouTube in exactly 48 hours from right now. And the only way to stop it from going live is if you let me interview you and get your side of the story. Which, if it's not true, Peter, I would definitely be reaching out to me right now because this documentary might just destroy your entire company. So if this is not true, please reach out to me. Anyways, Peter, you have 48 hours starting now.
Throwing decoy. RCXD driving out. Soon you will all fall sight. I'll show you road rage.
Chris Tyson has lost everything. Uh-oh. Remember Chris Tyson? This is a crazy period of time.
Massive day for the unemployed. Whatever happened to Chris Tyson? Since the whole Shadman debacle, it's been pretty much radio.
Wasn't Shadman like a pedo lolly artist or something? Like, if I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But that's just what I heard.
Syntax going out. Operating RCXD.
Yeah?
Get out of my damn way.
Oh. Not good, huh?
It was silent until in late 2025, Neon apparently saw Chris working in a movie theater.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Hi!
That's
Mr. Beast? That is? No, that's not Mr. Beast.
No way, that's actually not right.
Which brings us to our question. Whatever happened to Chris?
Bro, who knows that's actually who it is?
Why Chris Tyson will soon be a nightmare for Mr. Beast, and the response was overwhelmingly negative.
Absolute psychopathic behavior, bro. Have some shame and decency before you put out a video like this.
Sunny V2 was vindicated. I think he
was right all along. He was.
Did make these bizarre jokes about Jimmy being female, making him incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh my god, Jimmy, look, they grew.
Just the tip of the iceberg for Chris Tyson.
I started taking 2-3 weeks. I just started having a mental clarity.
Why Sonny made the video, people focused on his comments about Chris's personal choices.
I feel like the implication of that sentence is go back. Actually, don't explore what makes you happy. Don't do what you want to do.
The thing is that people like Ludwig and Hassan are never gonna are uncomfortable with trans people. They're never gonna acknowledge this because it's not financially beneficial. Like, look
at his cover.
Oh my god, I forgot all about this. Holy.
Activating decoy.
Damn! Why are you propagating rage over old drama instead of addressing a new James Charles accusations? Do you actually care about protecting children? There's new James Charles accusations? What is this here? I remember seeing... Okay.
I'll show you road rage.
discussed, and well-known servers there is. I don't think the server needs any introduction beyond that. It is synonymous with Minecraft as a whole. But behind the scenes the past few years, and only becoming clear and evident as of a few months ago, the server has been seriously declining in activity and popularity despite its reported player count. Lots of players have been proclaiming the server is dead, leaving for alternative servers or quitting for good, and after doing some research and discovering that hundreds of players, potentially as high as 40% of its player base, aren't even real anymore, they might just be onto something. With queue times as high as 2 days long, chat seemingly full of random messages not sent by actual players, and some of the server's most famous YouTubers barely uploading anymore, actually joining to was all those years ago. To start though, what actual evidence or indication is there that the server is dying? It seems to have a lot of players online, right? Well, I have multiple pieces of evidence, but let's start with the server subreddit. The 2B2T subreddit has over 200,000 subscribers and is the main location the server and updates are discussed, as well as information is shared. Yet, despite that, the subreddit sees 2, maybe 3 new posts total per day, most of which barely getting any interaction. If we use the website subreddit stats, we can see some historical activity stats for the subreddit up to late 2023, when Reddit made some controversial API changes. Throughout 2019 and 2020, the subreddit was seeing dozens of posts daily, as well as hundreds of comments. The post began slowing down once the COVID boom came to its conclusion throughout 2021 and into 2022, but there was still at least a dozen or so posts daily and around 50 to 150 comments per day. These numbers really tanked throughout 2023 though, continuing to decline in activity to where we are today. And furthermore, while we only have limited statistics available on the subreddit's activity, we can see its growth in terms of total subscriber count really plateaued towards the end of 2022 and entering 2023. In December 2023, the subreddit had approximately 195,000 total subscribers. 2.5 years later, it has only gained another 10,000, a growth rate of under 5,000 subscribers per year. Now, the subreddit isn't a direct measure of 2B2T's activity, of course, but rather what the Reddit is a reflection of the server's community engagement and activity. Think about it. The more active a Minecraft server, such as 2B2T is, the more people that will be discussing it, talking about it, and visiting subreddits and other communities surrounding it. So when those communities cease to be active and begin growing at a snail's pace, if at all, it indicates to us that the server and thus community of 2B2T are not as active of server activity we can gauge from actually being on the server, besides his player count, which we'll get in. I have a video about 2b2t uploaded in May of 2019, about a month before Minecraft, and thus 2b2t had a huge revitalization in popularity, as you can see here on Google Trends. The popularity of 2b2t at the time, according to Trends, was similar to what it is today. Now, take a look at the chat activity and speed. Seems pretty normal, right? Also, side note, but back then, 2b2t could only fit about 200 to 250 players online the server at the same time. Let's pop on the chat today. In this clip here, I started recording chat about 10 seconds after I joined the server, and besides a bot that automatically messaged 7 seconds. And considering I didn't start recording for 10 seconds, that meant that about a minute went by with no messages sent, potentially longer before I joined too. I have never in my entire time playing Minecraft seen a server with over 500 people online at the same time being this quiet. It doesn't make sense for a server with this many people for it to go a minute with nobody talking whatsoever. And then the person who finally broke the silence, ironically, was complaining about the server having too many bots, which is something we'll get into later in this video too. Watch any 2b2t video from 2016 after Russia's initial invasion up until 2022 or 2023, and you'll see chat move substantially faster, despite for most of that period the server only having a third of the players online as it does now. And even when the players did begin talking a bit, it was usually just the same 2 or 3. I have never seen 2b2t's chat this dead and inactive before. Now once again, like our subreddit analysis, chat activity isn't a direct measure of server activity, but it's a significantly more accurate indicator of how active the server's current online player base is. Think about it again. An active server with lots of players online doing things is going to by default as a product have an active chat. And just comparing older 2b2t to current 2b2t displays a night and day difference in chat activity despite the player count differences, where today over 2 times as many people are online. But then, that just begs the question, if so many players are online the server and the queue is so long, why is the at a 1-day queue? Check out my newly released Civilizations SMP server. This server has all the fun mechanics anarchy servers do, including raiding, PvPing, base building and exploration, as well as actual factions and guilds which you can work together to take on other factions in wars. The server also has custom pressure, of course. We need to now talk about the 2b2t queue and one big issue with it and 2b2t as a whole that isn't really well discussed or documented yet. So currently today, if you try to log into 2b2t as a non-priority queue player, the queue will be anywhere from 1 to 2 days long. That's right, not hours, but days, and it was a bit longer, going as high as 2 to 3 days, only 1 to 2 months prior, which only makes the server's inactivity even more baffling, as if the server is so dead, why is the non-priority queue wait so absurdly long? The simple answer is bots. As you saw in that message a player sent that finally broke the silence earlier in the chat, modern day 2b2t is infested with bots that clog up the server and queue. You can already see these if you click tab and look at some of the usernames. If we use 2b2t.vc, which collects 2b2t data and statistics, we can actually get an idea of how many bots have played the server within the past 30 days, which according to the API is calculated based on the number of times a player has been online for the maximum non-priority session time limit. According to this API, a total of about 637 bots have played within the past month on 2b2t. Using the API, we can also get a list of usernames of said bots. You see, whilst on the server writing the script and recording the previous segment about the chat inactivity, I noticed a lot of strange and out-of-context messages would regularly be sent in the chat, such as this message here from a player called Swisher Squirtin. And hey, what do you know? This account is listed as being a bot by 2b2t.vc. I got curious, out of the 500 to 600 players on 2b2t, how many actually currently online at the time were bots? So I downloaded a list of all the bots' usernames and then downloaded another list of all the players currently online the server through 2b2t.vc's Discord bot and threw them into ChatGPT, which I told to tell me suspected bots. If that's the case, where at the time I downloaded this list of players, there were 528 players online, that means about 40% of the current players online were bots. That is an insane amount. Now, we need to acknowledge 2 key limitations here. Obviously, 2b2t.vc's API isn't 100% reliable at determining who is and isn't bots within the past 30 days, so some of this data could be inaccurate. Second, the time of day I was online could influence the percentage of bots and overall players present. But even if half the players listed here aren't actually bots, that would still be about 20% of the server's player count. So you can begin to see why not only is 2b2t's queue so long, as it and the actual server are bots, but also why the server's chat seems so dead despite there being over 500 people online. And on DQ more specifically, these days the non-priority queue sits at about 450 to 500 people daily, with the priority queue usually being a max of 1 to 2 people, basically allowing priority queue players to instantly connect, which also makes the queue time being 1 to 2 days even more bizarre, as that means right now it's the highest it's ever been, despite the queue being almost half the size it was during 2B2T's peak. You see, back in 2020, during the COVID boom, it was common to see the queue as high as 900 to 1,000 people during peak hours, more than double what it is today, as well as priority queue being about 100. According to players at the time, this 900 to 1,000 player queue would take a 9 to 15 hour wait time at peak hours, and that was back when 2B2T had less players too. So how the hell does it make sense that despite the queue being half as long today, it takes almost twice as long to actually get in? Well, one theory from earlier this year was that the number of non-priority queue slots was massively reduced. You can see this using the 2b2t.pc public stats again. Back in March of this year, regularly less than 100 people of the around 650 max online were non-priority queue slot players, whereas priority queue would often have well into the 500s. Now, this has improved gradually since, but simply put, the number of available slots for non-priority players are significantly less than the number of priority slots, likely much lower than it used to be all those years ago. This, alongside bots clogging the queue and server, is likely why the queue is so long today. And all this information suddenly makes sense. The reason why 2b2t seems so dead is because newer players and non-priority players joining the server simply don't want to wait over a day to play. And since so many actual players don't have the time or patience to queue for 2b2t for a day, they simply don't play, thus harming the server's actual activity as less and less newer players are joining the server and playing it. The final indicator or piece of evidence we have about 2b2t dying today is a bit different and instead relates to 2b2t's culture. Despite all the statistics I gathered and presented today, if there's one thing I found most interesting, it's the server's Google Trends graph. 2b2t, according to Google Trends, despite obviously being less popular than it was in 2020 and 2021, still remains consistently searched on both YouTube and Google. And while every other observation we've made has indicated 2b2t's significant decline in activity since late 2022, according to Google Trends, 2b2t hasn't really changed. So why is that? And I think the reason is actually Camping Russia, FitMC, Salsy1, and many more making videos playing on or talking about the server. And despite channels like FitMC and Salsy1, FitMC especially, who back in 2020 was uploading 2b2t videos every week, no longer really uploading as much anymore. In fact, both Fit and Sal only have 6 videos uploaded in the past year, and half of Sal's aren't even about 2b2t. There is still a good degree of demand for 2b2t content. The issue is, where once 2b2t content was directly about the server, its history, and its events, today much of the popular 2b2t content, such as the videos here, are more about challenging or scripted interactions and gameplay. And to be clear, there is nothing wrong with that, but these types of videos are not as good actual promotion for the server as the older style informative and history deep dive